Hey guys, Will Rich here. Quantum computing has been a buzzword for years, and one company claims to be at the forefront of turning this revolutionary technology into practical solutions, and this is QBTS. With promises of solving the traditional problem or the problems that traditional computers cannot solve, they're definitely busting into this world of tech with a lot of hype. And you got to ask yourself, is it too much hype? And is this growth potential real? And is it worth paying attention to if you're looking to invest in the most profitable market that you can invest in? So let's get into it. QBTS. We're going to go over to our watch list here. You guys can see us here on the Robinhood platform, and we're going to go to Quantum AI. So the Quantum AI watch list is made up of some of our hardware companies, some of our software, and the bigger large cap companies that are driving some of the quantum stock innovation and growth. And so now what we want to look at is QBTS in its current position. And before we do, realize we trade these stocks every day at Market Open. And if you guys would like to surround yourself with other traders and investors, I would encourage you to check out StockMate. It's that second link down below to join. Thank you guys for watching. So let's get into it. This is a nice previous resistance that has been in this consolidation zone that's been holding on to right here. And you can see it is holding on to it. The beautiful thing about this, if you're a bull on QBTS, is that this moving average, you guys see this green line, it often acts as a support. And so when it does, that means that you're in a bullish market. Now, when we drop below here, this was the Jensen comments where basically he said that quantum computing is a lot further away than people realize, whereas this company and the CEO went on live and said this is a lot further and we're doing it right now, and frankly those comments are ridiculous and not true. And that's kind of funny he said that, because right after saying that, it basically recovered pretty big. I think right now we're at a recovery of what is 76% from that low. So that's quite the recovery there on the quantum space. Now, again, that green line, that moving average, because it's been consolidating here for the past 2-3 days, this moving average has now swept below and it's now holding below the current price. That's indication that we could now see a reversal. A lot of times when it crosses over, that indicates a change in direction. So when we see that, that's good news. We start to see this new trend develop here, that is one that's more prominent and easier to identify over on Rigetti stock. You see that that's pretty cool. So we saw it really holding that pattern. It broke back down here at the end of the day, and that could be a retest before continuing up. So we'll see what happens. Now, on QBTS, this technical side of things is looking pretty good, but it is at this level that it has to hold, and it's got to break above that $7 range in order to really start to get to that next level of $8 to $9. So we'll see if it breaks above again this kind of $7 range right here. It's a previous resistance. You can see it pretty clearly. Some consolidation over here. That's a level we just got to see it break over this zone here. If it does, then that's really good indication we're going to continue to see it push up and start to make its way back into this previous level. So if we just kind of get rid of all the drawings, it's a lot of drawings, you just kind of look at it, basically we have this trend that is developing, and if it holds it, it's not just going to sell off, and we actually see it hold it, then we could see previous highs be reached, especially with that new event in March from Nvidia. That would be an 80% increase right there. I'm not saying it's going to happen that fast. It might look more like that. It might be a couple weeks before we get there, but we'll see what happens on the technical side. Now, on QBTS for the news and their quantum company financials, what do we expect from a financial company, or from the financials in this company? I think a lot of people expect that they would like to see more revenue, and you can see they missed their earnings, they missed their revenue. they are sucking some cash. They had about 2 million in revenue, give or take, but a net income negative 22 million. They have a lot of investors um, from all over the world, and so they have what is some runway to be able to continue to grow and continue to work on their quantum computers. But a lot of the companies seemed to have a very optimistic view about this next quarter. And when we went to CES, we went to go talk with some of these quantum computing companies. We got to talk with IBM, Microsoft, IONQ, among others. And one of the things that happened was they were really optimistic about the earnings. So I'm really anticipating to stay very, very closely watching these earnings. So make sure to subscribe, make sure you get up to date because these earnings could be really interesting in this quantum space for 2025, especially as we see computing power that is much more needed as the AI boom kicks in here. So QBTS financials, that's kind of how they look. Nothing that you'd say, wow, I want to buy this company. A lot of people look at this, and this indicator is the one indicator that you look at the company and say, that's not so good. I don't like to see that. Now, this company isn't in the same positioning for revenue as some of the other quantum computing companies. They are more independent, which can be good in the long term, but it can also be more volatile and risky in the short term. And so let me explain. If you go onto AWS or you go to Microsoft or you go to Amazon or Google, you'll notice that if you're trying to invest in or trying to use these quantum computing companies, so this is a very big indicator of any trend, right? Any trend that happens, which quantum computing's been happening for years and years and years and years, is the reason they're this far. So it's less of a trend, more of a, oh, look, people are identifying that these are going to change a lot of the tech in AI and play a key role in some of the innovation. But outside of that, when you go to companies like Microsoft and Google, and you can see the company on their website because you can tap into the quantum computer and then you can use it over the cloud. That's when you say, oh, this is getting used. Oh, this is having some use case and it's being put into the marketplace as something that's not just a trend that people talk about, but something that's actually people are taking action on it. And so that's a really key indicator to think about when you're looking at quantum computing. You gotta think about any trend you look at. Okay, people are talking about it. Is it being used? Right? It's like Big Bear AI or what is it, Leidos. I'm like, this is great tech. They say they're in airports. Have I seen it? And I'm saying I do see it. Someone had a great example on a comment on one of our videos yesterday where they said, Will, I have this new investment thesis, and maybe I can even find it. If we go to the comments here, they said, Will, I have this new investment thesis. I love this comment. I developed a silly rule for how to quantify how much a person should buy of a stock if they think it might be a decent bet. So this is kind of like a long-term or a near-term swing trade for investing in a stock. That's what he's saying. Fundamentally based. He says, like, I'm investing in Kraft and McCormick. So if you guys don't know, Kraft is like, Kraft Foods. They got like macaroni, or McCormick, they got the, salt and pepper and what have you. He says, so I imagine what it would cost to buy a year's worth of like ranch dressing and seasoning. And then I feel like that would be a good metric for investing per year. So like with this Serve Robotics company, I imagine what would I spend in a year to have food delivered to me? So that's what it was about, a robotics company that's partnered with Uber, that's delivering food without any driver. And he says, and so I can easily imagine dropping $120 to have some robots come see me with Meals on Wheels when I could probably put that money on their stock in the market. So, it's like there's so many articles where like, if you would have bought an iPhone for 1,000 or if you would have bought Apple stock for 1,000, and like the iPhone, it's like now that's worth like 300 negative 1,000, which isn't true. It's probably worth just negative like 500 because you could still resell it. And then the person that bought the Apple stock, it's like this is worth $24,000 or something, and people are like, oh my gosh, that's so. And so that's kind of what he's saying. I really like that for the longer term fundamental look at investing. And a good way to think about too is if you do vet that rule, you're going to say to yourself, is this being used? How much quantum computing am I using? And that's something I'm actually implementing into one of my companies that's working on predictive analysis for finance to be able to not have past based charts, but feed in millions of data points to a quantum computer paired with AI, and then gets a few options based on all of that data of whether it thinks it's a buy or a sell and on what time frames it thinks that. So that, that's predictive analysis. That's something I'm working on right now, and I'm personally looking to use them. It's not like I make these videos, guys, just because I'm like, yo, this is cool. No, a lot of the times I'm like, I would use this, I'm interested in it, and that's why we make the video. So just keep that in mind. Say, even if it's short-term trades, like we trade on the minute basis, on 15 minutes at market open on some of these stocks, like QBTS, and we try to buy, or when we buy, we do it on the short term, but we make sure that the companies we're trading, even if it's just a few minutes, they're intrinsically valuable companies, that we like the companies. And that's a really key thing to look at in how our philosophy, how we approach this, because we don't want to be trapped in a box where we're just trading companies that aren't even that good and they go down drastically because they weren't good companies in the first place. And so we try to focus on value there. Now, QBTS is really interesting. So D-Wave, the thing about D-Wave is they're in a lot of different industries. You can go to their website. They say, unlock the power of practical quantum computing today. And then you can kind of look at where, this is interesting. I almost want to download this guide, which is a guide on quantum optimization. But you could see some of their partnerships, quantum optimization. They talk about your businesses and productivity, increased efficiency, and lower costs. They talk about public sector, where there's, think of millions and millions of people, if not billions, that are all in databases. Strengthen your national defense or intelligence or emergency response. There's all these little actions that you might take on each person or each data point. Energy reliability and resilience, they're much more efficient. They have insane processing power because of the cooling and the things that take place in the quantum computer. And it's a quantum computer. It's just so much more efficient for how big it is. And so I believe they're developing a lot of what is some of the software that's going into it. And that's a big deal, right? It says start building quantum applications today. So again, quantum computers, we're talking about moving, trapped ions or what have you, where it's not just a circuit board. We're talking about real quantum technology. It's like your iPhone, your LED. How can you touch the light and not get burned? People would say you're crazy if you'd asked them that 100 years ago. And so this is like developing computing power through things that that people look at and they say, whoa, that's like, what is that? Is that plasma? Is that people are, there's so much innovation in the quantum computing. People don't realize just how important the software is going to be able to process. And when they figure out how to process some data in a way that's digestible, it just takes off. So CEO discusses the company's growth in commercial markets. Okay, computing momentum on Yahoo. So the catalyst. Japan Tobacco Inc. and D-Wave announced collaboration aimed at accelerating innovative drug discovery. That's always interesting when you have a tobacco company that's in drug discovery. It's like the sugar company that's in the, I don't know, cardiac drug discovery. I don't know. D-Wave improved mobile network performance by 15% with quantum optimization strategy. They did 175 million at market equity offerings. You could see this is Japan's largest mobile phone operator with over 90 million subscriptions. And today announced a quantum optimization pilot that resulted in demonstrable mobile network performance improvements. So they improved the mobile network. Using D-Wave's annealing quantum computing solutions, Docomo found that it can reduce congestion at base stations by decreasing paging signals during peak calling times by 15%, potentially leading to increased efficiencies and lowered infrastructure costs. So the company plans to deploy hybrid quantum solution in production across its Japanese branch offices in the coming months. So those are the types of things when you have a company that has a lot of data or they have a lot of use case, that when they get plugged into businesses, and they're just getting plugged into more and more businesses, the impact on revenue is so evident. It's going to be quite clear. You have, these aren't small companies they're working with. Um, and so there's a lot of great companies that D-Wave works with. Who does D-Wave work with? I've heard some really good ones. They got Lockheed Martin, so they're in the space industry, Denso, Volkswagen, national research centers such as NASA, Ames, Los Alamos National Lab. That's a really interesting one. If you guys know, Los Alamos is where the nuclear bomb was developed. Oak Ridge National Lab and more, a word I can't pronounce. So there's a lot of great innovations happening. You can even see Toyota, BBVA, Pattison Group. So they're in finance. BBVA is in finance as well. They're in aerospace, automotive, and that's a good thing to see. So, the fundamentals of their news and what they're doing is really, really encouraging, and I love to see it. There's a lot of great news coming out. Some of it's hype, so you got to be careful, just like any articles. But some of it is quite interesting. They even say that it's outperforming Google Willow's chip, which we've seen most quantum computers do outperform Google Willow's chip. And so, yeah, there's comments on CEO Jensen had some comments on the exchange between Alan Barrett's the CEO and Nvidia, and Alan Barrett's basically said, I don't know the exact quote. We watched the video live, but he says Jensen has a misunderstanding of quantum. While he might be right about other quantum companies, he's dead wrong about D-Wave. There's more than one approach to building quantum computer. D-Wave took a different approach, which has allowed us to become commercial today and likely many years ahead of other quantum computer companies. We got more than 100 organizations using D-Wave's quantum technologies on-premise and on cloud to fuel operations and realize business value. D-Wave is working with organizations across industries to tackle complex enterprise challenges from workforce scheduling, logistics routing, we went into it, finance, what have you. You can also say, we welcome the opportunity to partner with companies like Nvidia in exploring what's possible when QPUs and GPUs come together, which they do, and they have to in order to function. QPUs function with GPUs and AI. So the news looks good. This trend starting to develop. If we see it push up above $7, that's a good indication we could see a continued uptrend. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see what happens with this market open opportunity. If you'd like to see if it presents itself, make sure to check out StockMate. It's that second link down below. We go live every single day at market open, and there is a discount that right now it's free to get the discount in the second link below. Again, that's StockMate, and we'd love to have you there. See you guys. I'd love to see you at market open on Monday. Thank you guys so much for watching. If I earned that thumbs up, hit the like button. Do consider subscribing, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.